All right, good afternoon, everybody. We are just at about 3 after the hour. Again, welcome to an exclusive GoldenCare presentation. My name is John Michael-Isaac. I am a Medicare trainer and agent manager here at GoldenCare. I'm happy to have a special guest speaker, Ted Sims from Integrity Marketing, to talk about exclusive med Supps available through Integrity Marketing and GoldenCare and how they can really be uh, help for more people to get affordable coverage, plus incentive programs that you are going to have with GoldenCare as a contracted agent. So we are truly honored to have Ted available to be with us this afternoon. So at this time, I'm going to turn over the reins to him. Everybody enjoy. If you do have questions, feel free to ask those at any time, and I will try and answer anything I can about GoldenCare as we go forward, and then leave that up to Ted as we go along.
Thanks, John. As you mentioned, my name's Ted Sims. I work for Integrity Marketing. I've been working with the company for a little over 22 years. I've done a lot of different routines in my job functions here, but the primary function I did for about 10 years was actually selling Medicare products to seniors. We got a lot of ground to cover today. As John mentioned, you guys, please feel free to put questions in the chat. What John can't answer that I may need to answer, I will answer at the end. Forgive me, but I want to be cognizant of you guys' time. So we slotted this for 45 minutes. I am going to cover a decent bit of ground relatively quickly, but I will be happy to stay on as long as you guys need at the end to answer anybody's questions. Having said that, again, I work for Integrity Marketing. I'm part of the sales team. I work in Atlanta out of the office that actually designs these Medicare supplements for you guys. So having said all of that, I look at the insurance business, specifically working with seniors, as one of the greatest businesses in the world for a multitude of reasons. I mean, realistically, me working with the clients that I've worked with, you hear those stories of where a product was needed when the time was right for your client, whether it be a life insurance, long-term care, short-term care, Medicare supplement, anything like that. The satisfaction you get by doing what's right for your client. And I take it one step further. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's the greatest business in the world also because you could make as much money or as little money as you want, depending on how much time you want to invest in it. I mean, if you just want to work part-time and make part-time money, you can do that. Or if you really want to invest time and effort into this, you can make as much money as you really want to. So in that aspect, you control your own destiny. Two key factors in doing that for you, is always going to rely on, number one, making sure you choose the right IMO partner to work with and also the right carriers. And we're going to kind of walk through some of the reasons that the proprietary Medicare supplements that Integrity brings to market, and working with one of our premier partners like GoldenCare, you have access to a whole litany of tools that will make your job easier for you. So having said that, we'll kind of dive right in. A quick agenda. I'm going to kind of overview where Integrity falls in all of this, and then GoldenCare, the value that they bring, the support they bring to you guys, and the tools that you guys get by taking any one of these contracts with them, that you have access to all these tools free just by doing that. Then we're going to dive into 3 carriers and go through those. 2 of them we go through pretty quickly. The third one, there's a lot of moving pieces. And then I'll do a quick demo to break down some of the rates on CSG for Allstate to make sure everybody understands those. And I expect this presentation to take about 40 minutes in total. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. So I got a technical issue here. There we go. So where does Integrity fit into all of this? Typically you have your insurance carrier, the Medicare supplement carrier, bringing the product to the agent brings it to your clients or your insureds. But there are other pieces that Integrity actually plays in all of this, and part of that is the product development team here in Atlanta. This is a group that actually designs these proprietary Medicare supplements for Integrity. I don't work directly for the team that designs them. I work for them on the sales side. I'm one of the salespeople for all of these products. But there's a lot that goes into that, and we're going to kind of touch base on some of those pieces as we go through the presentation. In addition, we have partnered with a marketing company called Thomas Arts. They're actually the agent of record for Aetna and United Healthcare, as well as they design all of our turnkey materials, our social media assets, all the things that you would need to sell these products on a day-to-day basis so that you don't have to go hunt down approvals and stuff like that. The stuff is ready for you to use. Then you throw in the distribution. So that's your IMO, such as GoldenCare. You have your career shops, the captive shops, and you also have the call centers. We have multiple different agencies that fall into these categories also. And then in addition, excuse me, technology and third-party administrator. Technology pieces you're going to see, we've partnered with Def Research, we've partnered with CSG Actuarial. We bring lots of tools to the table, such as Medicare Center and different things that you're going to see that you have free access to by having a contract with one of these carriers. And then I also mentioned third-party administration in here. We do own IAS, which is a third-party administrator that does the back-end work for one of our Medicare supplements. I also mentioned we partnered with Def Research. I don't know how many of you guys out there actually write Medicare Advantage type plans, but if you do, every single one of those Medicare Advantage companies reaches out to Def Research before they make any changes on their product for the upcoming year. Def Research plays a key role in all of that based on the information they supply to your carriers. So that's where integrity falls into all the pieces that go into this. Here are our specific carrier partners that Integrity has brought to the market. Today, we're going to talk about the big three up top, ACE, Aflac, and Allstate, and basically kind of outline for you guys where these are positioned, how come it makes sense to carry all three of them in your portfolio based on the different pieces in play for each one of you, if they're available in the states that you guys do business in. So when I talked about the team in Atlanta designing these Medicare supplements, they use a couple of different thought processes when they design these. Number one, they want to make them appealing. They want to make them appealing to you, the agent. They also want to make them appealing to your client. And we're going to break that down a little bit more over the next couple of slides. They also take in consideration that they want to make them profitable for you guys. Obviously you guys are in this to make some money, make a living, whatever it is that you're doing. That need to be profitable for you. So they also take that in consideration. And I'll kind of give you some of the pointers on what they do there. And then they want to make them easy to do business with. I mean, obviously, as I mentioned up front, you guys have choices when it comes to who you're going to partner with from an IMO perspective. You also have choices on who you're going to partner with when you want to write a Medicare supplement. And we want to give you some of the ideas behind what goes into our product development. So when I talk about appeal, the first thing that comes to mind to me when I'm sitting down with an actual client selling a Medicare supplement, after I've gone through the needs analysis and decided that the Medicare supplement was a product for them, I ask my clients point blank, what is appealing? What's the most important thing to you when it comes to this Medicare supplement? And, one of the typical things that's going to come up is going to be brand name of the carrier. There's a lot of states out there where, a carrier has a stranglehold on the state based on their brand name, be it Blue Cross and Blue Shield for some oddball states to anybody else. So you want to have a brand name that's going to at least match up with some of the brand names that are out there. So that's one of the pieces that they look at. The other one I ask my clients is hey, is the lowest rate the most important thing? Where do rates fall into your category of importance? And let the client answer that piece back for me. And then lastly, this one doesn't come up nearly as much, but for your more higher wealth clients, financial stability of the company may be a question that they ask. So again, when we look at the products that we're going to talk about today, they're going to pretty much check off all three of these boxes for you and your clients. And then again, I go back to the ease of doing business with. We want to make doing business with these carriers as effortless as possible for you guys. So when I'm talking about profitability for you guys, we offer the top commissions available out there. What I mean by that is you're not going to find that we're lowballing any type of commission. Generally speaking, you're going to find that we are either higher than or at worst case matching anybody else's commission available to you. And that goes for a street level agent that may only write one Medicare supplement a year, or a top level agency that maybe writes thousands of them on a given basis and qualifies for hire. Those guys are also going to qualify for the top commissions available out there. So We don't hold anything back. We like to pass all the commissions on to the agents that are writing the business as much as possible. The next thing is, Medicare Supplement is a product that sticks, so that's going to be profitable for you. Telos Actuarial supplied this data, but actually 9 out of 10 enrollees that are on a Medicare supplement are satisfied with, highly satisfied, or satisfied with their plan coverage. In addition, currently there's 65 million Medicare beneficiaries. That was in 2022. That's going to grow to 78 million in 2031. So that's going to be an increase of just Medicare supplement premiums of almost $18 billion. There's a lot of opportunity to be profitable when it comes to selling Medicare supplements if it's part of your business plan. The other thing is all of our Medicare supplements offer some type of bonus program year round. We're going to kind of break those down here. So I don't have the current Allstate bonus program on their flyer yet, but it is $125 for each underwritten application. You do have to write 10 to qualify in the period. Once you've written 10, they retro back to the first. For every one of them that was underwritten, you get an extra $125. Any states that have birthday anniversary rules on their Medicare supplement, you get 50. And then open enrollment applications will be 25. That's the bonus currently running for Allstate that we're going to talk about. Aflac has a bonus program. With this one, you have to reach 3 issued policies in a month to qualify. For that, you get $100 for every underwritten and $50 for any type of non-underwritten case. And then the bigger one here is ACE, the company we're going to talk about. They qualify. This one is for the second quarter. So after you've reached 5 applications within the quarter, you actually get $250 bonus on top for every underwritten piece of business and $25 for each and every open enrollment case. So there's lots of extra money to be had as far as app bonuses. And that's kind of one of the pieces I was talking about making it profitable for you, the agent. So then the other thing, profitability wise, carrier incentive trips, I don't think you really profit from those, but those are a nice bonus to have. And then the last thing is, again, I'm going to keep highlighting the support factor and the tools that you guys get by being partnered with GoldenCare as your IMO. Integrity, prides itself on bringing a lot of tools to the marketplace for agents to use and make your jobs easier. And by having contracts through GoldenCare, you have access to those tools, not to mention the world-class support that they're going to offer you guys. Then the last piece of the design was effortless, want to make it in the company easy to do business with. Again, I mentioned Thomas Arts. We have all those pre-approved turnkey materials available to you guys. If you need to find where they are, you reach out to GoldenCare and they can show you what's available by state, by company, by whichever one. And basically, for the most part, you'll be able to find social assets, stuff like that you need to do business. The other one, this one's important to our team here in Atlanta, the carrier feedback loop. What I mean by this is, products are not always go to the street and work perfectly as intended. I can give you a couple of examples, but one of the carriers were released a few years ago. The e-application process was not as simplistic as it should have been. After we got feedback from the field, we made efforts to change that, actually had a security question signature added onto that app, fixed that, and went on about our business and made the app easier for you guys to do business with. So, things like that may not be working as intended. If you guys make sure that feedback gets to GoldenCare, they bring that to the team here in Atlanta, and we will address it if possible within reason, obviously. And sometimes it can't be addressed on the current carrier, but that feedback will us to market in future years. And then I already mentioned the e-app signature process. We try and make all of these as simple as possible. Pretty much every carrier you're going to see today has some type of security question as a signature. And then last but not least, again, you're going to get all the world-class support from GoldenCare. It's obviously in their best interest to make this as easy as possible for you guys so that you guys can spend more time writing business and less time on back-end office type work. And again, the tools that you're getting ready to see access to, that is actually a bonus by having any one of these contracts through GoldenCare. So we'll kind of walk through the process of what these are. And there are some upcoming webinars that will actually take you deeper into these tools. I don't have the time today because this is a rabbit hole of a wealth of information, a wealth of tools that you could spend hours and hours in. So I will kind of point out what is available to you, but I would suggest you reach out to GoldenCare to actually follow up on some of these things. So obviously, if you were doing your job and you had that pump to fill up that tire, you obviously don't have the right tools to do the job, and having those will save you time and effort. So speaking of those tools, by having contract for, through GoldenCare on any one of these carriers, you have free access to Medicare Center. If you guys are not utilizing Medicare Center for all of the things that are available on there, I would really suggest that you spend the time to get registered on it and go learn what you can about Medicare Center, because from a Medicare Advantage and a Medicare Supplement aspect, this tool right here will make your job so much easier. From quoting, CRM software. I know a big thing for those of you that write Medicare Advantage business, going into last year, you had to have call recording CMS compliant. This gives you the opportunity to have that, have it CMS compliant, have those calls stored for you for 10 years. So there's so many tools available at your disposal. This is also this is a personalized URL. So basically your own little agent website, and then quoting enrolling tools. The CSG application is where you can go quote and enroll, or quote and all kinds of different products. And then Medicare app and Medicare Link are more so products that are geared towards the Medicare Advantage and the prescription drug pieces. And again, I said there's so much there. I don't really have time to go into it. I do know that GoldenCare has 2 upcoming Medicare Center webinars on May the 3rd and May the 4th. I suggest that you guys reach out to them and participate if you'd like to learn more. The other piece of this is Lead Center. A lot of the companies out there will give you some type of lead credits based on business or any kind of co-oping, things like that. You can donate those funds into the Lead Center. You can order health and life leads. There's all kinds of opportunities there. You can buy old leads, you can buy new leads, you can buy exclusive leads. You can buy pretty much everything you want, including real-time campaigns with live leads coming in. And this does connect with Medicare Center and the CRM and the call recording piece of it. So this is another great tool by being contracted with GoldenCare as your IMO. The other piece is CSG Actuarial, and we're going to kind of do a quick demo of this to make sure you guys understand. But this is one of the best quoting tools out there. It also gives you a lot of data on the insurance companies that you're looking up if you want to dig into it. It also gives you the opportunity to send your actual clients and compare side-by-side products so that they can see it right on paper. Here's some examples of social media stuff. Everything you would ever need is available out there to you. And then there's also another Turning 65. This is kind of a neat tool that's free to you guys. Has all the different rate quoting pieces over here for all of these products. In addition, if you plug in your address, it will put a red dot for every senior that's turning 65 around you within the next 6 months, gives you their name, their date of birth, and their actual address. It does not give you a phone number, so you would need to be a social butterfly if you wanted to reach out to these people. I wish this tool was around years ago when door knockers were around, but it's still kind of a neat little tool to have access to. In order to register for it, once you're contracted, that's where you go on the website, and then you will click register here, and it will verify that you have contracts, and then it'll let you gain access. The other pieces we've talked about, Medicare Center, there's just kind of an example of how it holds your calls for you. You can download it, send it to CMS, whatever you need it to do. Okay, so now we're going to dive into the Medicare supplement companies and do the company overview. You know, when I sit down with a client, I kind of use a very similar scenario to this when I'm actually talking with my clients. And I just picked a random rate out of the state of Iowa to pull this in here. But you're going to find that a lot of the states are going to be very similarly priced in the way that our products we talk about today fall. So when I sit down with clients, you know, I'll talk to one of my clients and I'll say, hey, you know, if I sat down at a table with 6 different seniors to talk about Medicare supplements, and basically a Medicare supplement is going to be considered the pot of coffee here. So for all intents and purposes, a Plan G is a Plan G. So if I'm pouring this in this first client's cup and I charge that client $89 for that cup of Medicare supplement, By the time I get over to the sixth client over here in the state of Iowa, and I charge them $155 a month for their Medicare supplement pot, they're going to look at me like I'm crazy. So that's kind of how I explain to my clients, a plan G is a plan G. And realistically, do you have to take the lowest rate? No. It's a matter of your comfort zone for the client. And that's where I ask what is most important. But, doing one of these four over here versus something over here that's, five, six, $700 a year more in premium is probably really not the best option for your client. And I promise you, if I was working in the states that these agents were doing this, I would be right behind them as much as possible, rolling their business. In fact, that's actually how I built my block of business in Georgia, was replacing a couple of well-known carriers that were priced out of the market. So again, there's a huge opportunity there. If your client trusts you, your client understands that you have their best interest at heart, and there's really no reason to pay the absolute highest. Do you have to give them the lowest premium? No, a lot of agents are not comfortable with that. But there are a lot of options in here that are going to be stable and give your client the right options. So having said that, let's dive into the three carriers. The first one is ACE. I'm not sure how many of you guys are familiar with ACE. You're probably more familiar with the name Chubb. Chubb is actually the world's largest publicly traded property and casualty insurance company. ACE actually purchased Chubb. So once the two of them combine, they become the world's largest publicly traded property and casualty insurance company. They're really, really large. A lot of seniors will be familiar with the Chubb name, but maybe not the ACE name. 2021, they did more than 200 billion in assets and reported over 46.8 billion of gross premiums. I do not have any current 2022 numbers yet. This one's a big one. 93% of Fortune 1000 companies, or put another way, only 70 of the top 1000 Fortune companies don't have one Chubb product. The rest of them all have at least one Chubb product in there. So they are a very well-known, huge company that does a lot of business with the top Fortune 1000 companies. So they're very financially stable. And then, this one's kind of a key piece too. They are one of only two A++ rated carriers that sell Medicare supplements. The other one that I know of is State Farm, and most of the rates that I see for State Farm are out of the market, so they're not really in the Medicare supplement business, where Chubb has a price, ACE and Chubb has a product that is designed to compete. So speaking of that, let's kind of break down where ACE fits into the market as far as the Medicare supplement goes. Most states you're going to see, with the exception of Nebraska, it is going to be the lowest base rates in most states. What I mean by base rate, this is not factoring any type of household discounts. They're extremely competitive also when you factor in the household discounts, but just looking at base rates, they're going to be the lowest rates you're going to find in most every single state that you look at them. That's how the product was designed. It was designed to be the lowest rate coming in as far as the product goes. They do have a 7% household discount that you can actually apply to that already low rate. It is a one policy discount. And what I mean by that is, as long as they match the household rules for the state, living with their spouse of whatever age, whatever the state requires, it is a one person only that has to apply in order to get the 7% discount. So it doesn't have to be husband and wife, husband and significant other, whatever, applying to get the household discount. This one is the one that is actually administered by our own third-party administrator, IAS. That gives us a little bit more insight to what goes on behind the scenes, trends that we see, anything that we can help fix, anything along those lines. So that is a nice piece for us, just to have a little bit deeper access into the inner working of what's going on with the Medicare supplement business. And then it does have the typical plans A, F, G, and the high deductible G and N, where they're available in certain states. This one is one of the ones I talked about that has multiple options outside of the security question. Everybody looks at QSIG like, what is it? That's the security question, such as mother's maiden name. ACE also has pretty much any option you want: text signature, email signature, and they will do one thing that a lot of carriers will not. They will actually, if you have an old school client that wants to sign a paper app, and maybe let's say that client is in a different state, or they're not really within driving distance for you to get to them, you can submit the application electronically for your client. ACE will actually print the policy, send it out to your client for your client's signature. Your client can return it and send it back into ACE. That's kind of one of those ease of doing business things that they do uniquely that nobody else does. And then after that, again, I told you where this product was designed. This has actually been the second largest launch we've ever done with Integrity as far as Medicare supplement business being on the books. So what I mean by that, it is a very hot product. It is getting an awful lot of traction. If you do not have the contract in your back pocket, at some point in time, you may have to be selling against it, and you're going to find a tough time competing against the rates that they have because it is priced that competitively. So, I mean, that's really the high points on why you should add ACE to your portfolio. Again, I'm going to go back to the appeal pieces that we talked about when we started this. It is a brand name carrier that a lot of seniors will recognize for you. They do have the lowest rates. They are a financially stable company. And then for you, the agent, they have that $250 bonus program. So a lot of good reasons. It'll check a lot of boxes for your clients as well as you, the agent, on why ACE is a great product to add to your portfolio. The other product we're going to talk about is Aflac, and Aflac is obviously another one of those brand name carriers that brings a lot to the table as far as your clients are concerned. You can't help but watch any type of college football on Saturdays without seeing the Ducks. So, that's really free advertising for you guys. I love companies that advertise, that have the brand name out there for me as an agent. It just makes my job that much easier when trying to sell a policy. You already have to get client comfort with you as if they're a new client, and just having a brand name carrier kind of helps that process a little bit smoother. So I don't think I need to spend a lot of time on who Aflac is for you guys. I would assume most of you guys know the Duck is very well known. It's a brand that, they're very proud of and a lot of seniors recognize. In fact, I think we'll see in a minute, 87% of seniors actually know who it is. But back to the pieces that I talked about earlier. Aflac is an A+ rated carrier, so they meet the financial stability stipulation. They were originally established in Columbus, Georgia, under the name American Family Life Insurance of Columbus. They did change their name in 1964 to American Family Life Assurance Company, and that's obviously a name change that would set up, Aflac for one of the most groundbreaking advertising campaigns in history. And the Duck, everybody knows the Duck. So here's a map, and I've got a better map at the end, so we can kind of skip over this, but they're relatively national footprint for you guys. As I mentioned, Aflac is a brand name that's recognized by 87% of seniors. Seniors are going to be comfortable with the name. They're going to be comfortable with the product. It's a product that will be easy for you to sell. They do also have a one policy discount, and that is a 10% household discount that applies. They are administered by Aetna, and we're going to talk a little bit about that piece of it just here a little bit more in a second. It is priced to sell. It is not the lowest rate, as I mentioned, and my coffee cup example was a prime example of Iowa. It was competitive, but it was not the lowest. It is priced as the lowest of the tier 1 carriers, and I'll give you an example of who those are in 1 second. It does have the typical plans that are available in some of the states that do have the high deductible plans. Those are available there too. I mentioned the Aetna backing. I want to kind of briefly touch on this. I know CVS is undergoing a lot of rate increases out there, and those of you guys that are comfortable writing the Aetna and CVS product, I think this is a great home for you. But before I go down that trail, I'd like to kind of at least talk you through CVS and some of the impacts that had, because that also was one of our Integrity brought to the street products. When Integrity launched CVS, actually it launched the day before, I believe, the United States and the rest of the world shut down for COVID. They brought an awful lot of business on. I mentioned ACE was our second largest launch ever. CVS was actually our largest launch ever. And unproportionately, that business took an awful lot of open enrollment business because seniors weren't willing to switch with all the uncertainty going on with COVID, but they bought up a ton of the market share on open enrollment business. Then you fast forward a couple of years later, the world opens back up. All the seniors that put off all of the health issues that they may have had, everything else, and there were a lot of claims, there were a lot of things that got put off that made things worse, that drove things into a more dire situation than they should have been from a claims perspective. So for the most part, I can chalk it up as just a total stroke of bad luck with the timing, the amount of business they were doing, and the fact that COVID was hitting. Having said all of that, the reason I bring this back up, because again, this is an outstanding opportunity for agents that are really comfortable with the Aetna platform. You're going to know the underwriting, you're going to know how they work, you're going to know the whole process. The actual agent portal is basically identical, it's just a different URL. If you're very comfortable with writing Aetna CVS type products, you're going to have a happy home here writing this product. And again, it is very competitively priced. It is not priced like ACE is as the lowest, but it is competitively priced for you and your clients, where it's not difference enough where you're really doing a disservice by your client. You give the client the option of both, and let them make the decision. But it is a great home for your clients. This is what I mentioned as far as the tier one carriers. When this product was designed, these rates are actually back from July of last year. Aflac has not taken a rate increase. I don't think there's one coming up this year before AEP. I'm guessing most of the rest of these companies have already taken a rate increase. So this chart was presented last year. I would assume the positioning is even that much stronger as far as Aflac versus the tier one carriers that are out here. But these were some examples of where ACE was actually falling compared to the tier one carriers. So again, it's competitively priced. It's just not priced to be the lowest of the carriers out there. Back to the three pieces we talked about earlier. Brand recognition, obviously with ACE, Aflac, you have that. A+ rating, again, strong financial stability, and then the lowest prices of the tier one carriers. So you have great rates for your clients, not necessarily the lowest, but they are right there competitive within reason, where you're not doing a disservice selling your client this versus the overall lowest rating, lowest rates out there if your client's more comfortable with an Aflac product. And then again, back to the year-round bonus programs for you guys. Aflac is giving you an extra $100 for all of your apps once you qualify for their monthly piece. So that is really the positioning and how Aflac was designed. We're actually going to spend the majority of our time today on the last carrier, and that's going to be Allstate. I want to make sure you guys are comfortable with how Allstate has functioned their product. And we have about 10 minutes to get through this, so I'll go as quickly as I can to be cognizant of you guys' time frame. I'm pretty sure all of you guys are familiar with Allstate. You may know them by the NatGen name. Allstate actually purchased NatGen back in 2021 and completed rebranding over to Allstate in October of last year. When I typically think about a property and casualty company, first thing that comes to mind to me is going to be stacking my homeowners and my automobile insurance together and get a discount. Well, Allstate is kind of pioneering that market on the Medicare supplement side. They are part of the Allstate family of companies. They are, again, an A+ rated carrier. They do have $51 billion in annual revenue and then 191 million policyholders. So they've got a very large block of business. I remember them well from the Good Hands people, and my wife, looks at me like I'm crazy, but I can't help but crack up every time I see the Mayhem guy on when I'm watching any type of sporting event. So again, for you, the agent, great advertising opportunity. Your clients are going to be comfortable with the Allstate name. Product highlights, there's a bunch of things that sets Allstate apart. So first and foremost, 80% of the business they write, you have an instant underwriting decision. I cannot talk about how much I wish I had a product that did this years ago when I was in AEP. You run up against short windows to get policies issued, worrying about getting approvals before the actual issue date comes on. This is a huge piece of relief for a lot of things, and gives you the ability to pivot to a different option if you need to, based on the client not passing underwriting. So I love that. I love the way they do that. That does give them the ability to give you instant ID card download. Suppose your client has no insurance at all, you want to go ahead and write them a policy effective today because they're eligible. You can go ahead and download that ID card and hand it over to them until they get their plastic cards in the mail. And then this one's not that a big deal, but it is kind of unique, so it is listed. You can do any day effective date on their policy, so 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. Obviously, the billing bank draft would default to the 1st unless you chose a separate date, but it's something that's unique, so it's kind of listed here. But here's where we're going to really break down what you need to understand for Allstate. They do have one preferred select rating class. This is for your healthier clients. There's one extra health question on this and 2 other qualifiers. So first and foremost, they're going to have a little bit tighter height and weight chart. So you're more physically fit clients, and then they cannot have used tobacco, and they must be underwritten. So this starts at actual age 66. And then the last extra health question that's in there is, have they been diagnosed and prescribed medication for depression? So it's not exactly the wording on it, but it's close enough. They're looking back 5 years for being diagnosed with depression and prescribed a medication for antidepressant. As long as they can answer those questions, those pieces, plus the typical 20 or so health questions, these clients can qualify for the preferred select rating. This rate class is a lower rate than our normal base rates, and it does have a banded age bracket, meaning from age 66 to age 70, they will not take any typical age increase rate increases. If the whole block of business takes one due to loss ratios, they will take those, but they do not take your typical client went from 66 to age 67, the rate increases that go along with those. Those are banded from age 66 to 70, so you don't see those. So that's a nice little piece for your healthier clients. Then again, I talked about stacking discounts is what I think of. With Allstate, they actually have their multi-discount program. So there's 3 pieces to that. They have this household discount that everybody else has, 7% if it's a one policy holder that applies, 10% if both the husband and wife apply. And the key thing to remember with this 10%, if the husband and wife or a significant other apply and one of them is declined, they do not take away the 3%. So they do get to remain at 10%, even though the other one was declined, because they both applied together. So your first set of discounts that you can actually apply is either 7 or 10% for your clients. The next one is if your client has the means and ability to pay annually, they can get an additional 10% off of their policy just by stroking that annual check. And we're going to talk a little bit about the actuarial piece of that too, because it typically tends to be better business for you guys and obviously more persistent. And then the last one is the 5% activity tracker discount. Obviously, this is not for everybody, but the way this works is if your client has a wearable device, a Fitbit, anything along those lines, and are willing to actually register it, and they take 1 step a day, that's the extent of the requirements, register it, take 1 step a day, they can get an additional 5% discount off of their premiums. Allstate is never going to call your client, say, hey, you're not walking X amount of steps a day. They don't do anything with that information other than use it for actuarial information for future products. So obviously that's not going to be every client. You have clients that are not tech savvy, but again, you have the opportunity now to save your clients all the way up to 25% off of their premium. So in my terms, that's 3 months worth of free Medicare supplement premiums, really the equivalency. The last 2 pieces in this is every policyholder that purchases a Medicare supplement gets access to Amplifon hearing care. This is a great program. It gives them reduced hearing aid cost. I can't remember what the percentage is, but it's a lot. The 3 bigger pieces is they get a one-time $75 exam to get their hearing aid unless they use Miracle Ear. After that, and after they purchase hearing aids, the follow-up exams for 1 year to go get those hearing aids fine-tuned are free. I know sometimes it can take multiple visits to get them tuned. In addition, 2 years of free batteries. I know those batteries are very expensive. And then a 3-year loss and damage warranty kind of program built into that for those clients that may lose them, break them right up front, anything like that. So this is an absolutely outstanding program for your clients. And then they have an active and fitness program that's also included free for your clients. There is a paid piece in this. The free piece is access to download like 12,000 workout videos, et cetera, that they can do in their own home. If they would like to use a gym, this does cost $25, but they can use pretty much any gym that participates, which is a large portion, almost all of the big ones. I believe there's almost 15,000 gyms in there. Beauty of this is there's no contract. They don't have to go to the gym and use the sales team to get set up on this. And they can change it anytime. They basically just go on the Active and Fit website and say they want to change gyms to pick the other gym they want to go to and change it over there. So really, 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 really great program for you. And then the last piece is your preferred select. You can actually stack these 25% worth of discounts on here. Now, I know we're running right up against the window of time here. I do want to do a quick demo on CSG, but a couple of actuarial pieces. Your preferred select rating, that's going to drop those rates that are not quite the base rates down lower than most anything else. That's your healthy clients. So you're going to see, well, those are actually low rates already, but those are going to be your healthier clients. They're going to promote a healthier block of business. Actuarial, when you look at the annual pay discount, first and foremost, from an agent, if they pay annual, it generally equals better persistency. But also those that are a better financial position usually have more, they're usually more conscious of their health. Along the same lines, those that have the ability to pay annually tend to have a better claim outcomes. So by dropping that 10%, you're usually dropping it for a class of client that's going to be a little bit healthier, that's going to drive a healthier block of business. And then the last one is the wearable is generally going to be your health conscious clients. So having said that real quick, give me 1 second and let me change my view screen here. Well, I am having technical difficulties. What I want to make sure you guys know is when you go on CSG, you'll see that Allstate is going to be listed there about 8 or 9 different times. If you apply the discounts and go to the annual rates, if you do that, I want to make sure you understand what you're looking at. And when you open CSG actuarial, if you actually expand each one of those rate quotes, it will give you different categories for what's there. So this is the key piece of information I wanted to show you by that, but I'm having difficulties with my computer right this minute. If you actually expand each one of those rate quotes, it's going to tell you a few different things. It will tell you preferred select. It will tell you wearable discount. It will tell you household and dual. So let me break that down so you understand what you're looking at when you expand those quotes. The wearable discount is going to equate to the 5% discount. So whatever rate you have up there, you know that they're applying the 5% wearable discount to that. If it says household and dual, that means that it was a household, roommate and dual. That means it was the household discount for roommate and dual, meaning it was a both husband and wife. If it only says roommate, that's the 7% because only one of them applied. And then the last and most important piece that I really wanted to show you was it doesn't ever show you an annual discount when you're looking at the monthlies. You do have to click on the actual annual rate over there, and it'll bring up the annual discount. And once you do that, you're going to see that Allstate is probably the first 6 or 7 names for almost every single state that you go to. And that discount is an additional 10%. So typically speaking, you're looking at another $150 to $200 off of their annual premiums. That really drops those rates extremely low. And again, I apologize for my technical difficulties on the CSG piece. Having said all of that, I have come up to where I would like to stop and answer questions for you guys. I would like to just point out one other opportunity. If you guys are savvy with social media, I'm not, but if I was, I could have a field day, or I would pay somebody to have a field day creating some kind of social media content for me, asking questions if you could save 25% or qualify for 3 months of premium free on your Medicare supplement. Would that interest you? The only caveat in all of this is do not use the Allstate name unless you get it approved. Otherwise, something along these lines, a little bit more creative than what I could come up with, would be really great for you guys. And having said all of that, here's the product availability map for you guys. If you have an opportunity to take a screen print or take a picture of that, I would do that. And then I'll go answer questions for you guys. Anybody that has not contracted with any of these carriers, I would implore you, it's probably a good idea to carry all of them in your back pocket. That way you have multiple options. You're not handcuffed to one specific carrier. That will also give you the ability to access the tools and support that you have through GoldenCare. And then again, I talk about ease of doing business. I beg you guys to just try and write one app with these carriers. You're going to find that pretty much everything I've said here is true as far as how easy these carriers are to do business with. And you're going to want to obviously submit more business. With that, I'd like to turn it back over to John and see if he'd like to share any more information and see if there were any questions that were asked that are not answered.
Thank you, Ted. Appreciate your time today and giving a nice overview of the exclusive med subs that we do have available. Right now, there are no questions. Surprisingly enough, there are. Ted, want to appreciate your time today, taking out of your busy schedule to be able to help present for us. I know we're going to have another one of these scheduled here coming up in the next few weeks. We'll look forward to having that as well. And again, anybody interested in contracting with GoldenCare can go to goldencareagent.com, look at all the products we do have available. We are your one-stop shop essentially for healthcare when you have small group, large group, Medicare, all the products that come along with that, plus long-term care, short-term care, all that fun stuff that comes with healthcare. We do have that available to you. We have all that listed on GoldenCare. Well, I'll say 90% of that stuff was listed on GoldenCare Agent. We do have plenty more. So if you do need, you can contact us at any time. There on the screen is a phone number or the email that you can email for questions and visit our website to learn more. With that, again, thank you everybody for your time. Ted, appreciate your time as well this afternoon, and we'll look forward to seeing all of you hopefully at another time and talking to you in the future. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Check out our website, goldencareagent.com, or give us a call at 800-842-7799.